So, what's a conscious leader? A conscious leader is someone who does his or her best to stay in presence. And that doesn't mean he or she doesn't forget. I forget so often, it's ridiculous. And I've actually been a monk of a practice of meditation for over a decade, and still I forget. A conscious leader is someone who doesn't judge himself or herself for anything that is different right now than what he or she wants to achieve. Or at least stops the judging cycle as soon as he or she can. Because he or she understands, because I understand, and if you are a conscious leader, understand that judging doesn't bring any good. A conscious leader is someone that doesn't hide from the world in his spiritual practice. As I used to do as a monk, I used to hide from the world, and hundreds of my companions hide from the world in our spiritual practice. And not only monks in my practice or the tradition that I was part of, but so many, I will say, dreamy hippies in my book, Happiness is Easy, or just people identified with spirituality versus this conscious leader idea or proposal. It's like spirituality is the only thing important. You are in this world. You are not in the fifth dimension. You're in this world, and you are not in a cave, or your cave is pretty amazing because you have access to internet and you are watching this video. So if you are not in a cave for this lifetime, if you haven't chosen celibate and renouncing to everything, to the world, even if you are incarnated, I'm not saying that's a wrong choice, but it's not your choice, quite likely, if you're watching this, then the world is not a mistake. And hiding from the world in spirituality is not gonna make you neither enlightened, neither happy. The conscious leader is neither the stressed executive, as I name it or labeled in my book, Happiness is Easy, is not that version of me that I have experienced, and you probably have too, where we believe that the world is gonna give us happiness, that success is gonna bring happiness or self-realization, that if I make it in my career, that if I make it in my intimate relationship, that if I make it in my family setup, that if none of that is gonna make me feel self-realized. Only self-realization right now, only being present now is gonna, or only being self-realized now, only experiencing realization right now, or realizing this moment right now is gonna bring realization. But both the spiritual practice or the spiritual discovery, exploration, and the world exploration are tools to experience this realization. The world is not a mistake. Spiritual practice is not a mistake. The world is not the only thing important. Spiritual practice is not the only thing important. When a conscious leader, though, has to choose, he or she always chooses to bring awareness to more presence, to discover more love. But he or she doesn't choose between one or the other, but engages with everything and hides from nothing. That doesn't mean I hide from nothing, no. It's more accurate to say, not intentionally, not consciously. I don't choose to hide. I hide sometimes without realizing. I'm noticing my little shame. You see, that's an example. I don't want to use myself so much as an example. I want to use anyone as an example. Eckhart Tolle, Tony Robbins, Nelson Mandela, Gandhi, possibly you. But even if I'm ashamed, I don't hide. I don't escape from my shame. I notice it, I acknowledge it, I face it, and I let it transform. I use everything that feels uncomfortable as a reminder to come back to more alignment, to more presence, to more love, instead of as an excuse to experience less love, less alignment. My moment where I stopped, and by the way, what I'm most interested is not about my speech, but about these little moments where suddenly something that I'm saying clicks in you. And you are like, this resonates with me. Those are the most important moments, because in those moments you are seeing something with a different perspective, and you are in the midst of the opportunity to change your relationship, maybe in a subtle way with that. And that's another common thread of a conscious leader. We are in a subtle dance because we are already beyond 80% of humanity in terms of inner self-realization and outer realization too. Some of us are gonna be more realized in the outside, some of us more realized in the inside. There is always gonna be someone that is less realized than you and someone who is more realized than you in one or different aspects. But we are way above the average, so our dance is of high performance, is of subtleties that can change everything. So I'm interested in you paying attention in those moments of subtlety when something that I'm saying is resonating. Something valuable, I believe, is to share the stories, the valuable stories, the insightful stories, because the beauty of a story is that we all perceive them from different perspectives and they are alive. So you are gonna take what is most useful for you. My story with stop being a conscious leader was when I was 9. Until 9, possibly like many kids, until a certain age, I was a conscious leader. What does that mean? It means that I wasn't rejecting anything. I was rejecting some things, but the majority of the time I was just open, exploring. I was willing to explore. I was willing to grow. Of course, I was already gathering limitations, learning from my friends, from my parents, from society, from school. But when I was 9, it was the turning point. It was when I was attached enough to the appreciation from my friends and to the appreciation from my teachers that when I saw another guy, a new guy, coming from a big city, I was living in a rural place, that called more the attention of my friends. He was more charismatic, more powerful somehow. It was more interesting to my friends. And also this other guy was more interesting to my teachers. I was willing to stop being myself, to stop following myself and start trying to be more like him and him. And in that, the more I tried to be like them, the more I was less like myself. The more distant I was from my own core, from my own center, from my own presence. And since then, 30 years, I've been first more and more and more, and then less and less and less and less since I started my personal growth journey and my spiritual growth journey, attached to be more like others instead of attached to be more like me. And this is another characteristic of a conscious leader, is that we may do it unconsciously, but consciously we are doing our best to really honor our moment and honor our life as it is. Meaning that, yes, I want more success in every aspect of my life, sexually, financially, lifestyle-wise, body-wise, but I know in essence the most powerful thing that I can give myself and give others right now is absolute love for how it is my life right now. Absolute love for the moment of evolution that there is in my own spiritual journey, in my own bodybuilding journey. Jokes aside, really, I am in a journey to have a body that is more like the body I want. But what creates pain and creates unconsciousness is to believe that being like someone else is gonna bring me happiness. No, only loving myself as I am is gonna bring me happiness. And only when I am loving myself right now, and you right now, then I can be genuinely valuable, genuinely an awakening reminder for someone else. I could talk more about it, but I think it's enough for now. A conscious leader, in essence, is someone who has understood that it's neither spirituality the only thing important, neither the world the only thing important, but that both are not equally important. Both are important. If you need to choose, you always choose spirituality, but because you don't need to choose almost never, you always choose both. And you use discomfort both in the inside, in the spiritual practice, as much as in the outside, in the day-to-day situations and challenges. You use those challenges instead of as an excuse to escape, as an excuse to hide, whether from spirituality in the world, whether from the world in spirituality. You use them as a way to bring more love, bring more consciousness, bring more braveness, bring more realization. And you understand that realization is either right now or never. Thank you for watching, for commenting, for asking questions if you have them, for sharing this with other humans who are conscious leaders, and they are still discovering it, or they want to be more clear, or you believe they are desiring to become one. Share with whoever feels right. And devour your fears, your excuses. Follow yourself, follow your gut. Live your purpose. Live the life you dream. Be the change you want to see. I love you.